Oblivions, and this is my reaction to the um, Time of the Doctor episode from Christmas. I know it's a little belated, but hey, at least I got it out. So let's get on with it, shall we? So we start off with, of course, seeing that the Doctor returns to the planet of Trinzalore, which, as we all remember from before, is where he actually saw his grave for um, well, himself. Um, so this Trinzalore is before that Trinzalore, but oddly enough, this is the time when the Trinzalore that looks so good is converted into the Trinzalore that the Doctor saw in the Name of the Doctor. Um, Now, I also think that Clara, being well, let me take a step back here. The fact that Clara's family is mentioned or even like included in this episode is it's interesting because, well, okay, for in series 7 it showed Clara and her kind of I am like her I would say almost foster-ish like kids, like she looked over them, but that was throughout series 7. Right now we apparently see that she no longer needs to take over watching them, and she has a family. And it's funny that the family's only shown actually in Matt Smith's last episode. Okay, whatever though. Um, so also, the fact that at the beginning the Doctor somehow, I don't know how, but somehow managed to detach a Cyberman's head from a Cyberman and has been using it to and locate ships and to beam onto the ships. Um, the cyber head's name is Handles, because they have handles. Um, and yeah, I mean, I kind of liked Handles was a good addition. I felt it was almost like a callback to Chameleon from the old series. He was with the Fifth Doctor. If any of you actually seen the classic series, um, but yeah, it was so fun because Handles at first sent the Doctor to a Dalek ship with a broken Dalek eye stalk. So of course they're gonna shoot him. Then they appear in a Cyberman ship with a cyber head Handles, and they get shot at again. So every ship that Handles sends the Doctor to, they get shot at by some creature. And if you see the beginning of this episode, you see that there are tons of ships. So you can almost imply that the Doctor has been on many, many, many ships already, and he just happens to be doing the Dalek and the Cyberman last, just because that's how Handles has been putting them on. But also, he has been doing it by how many ships actually arrive and when they arrive. So I mean, but still, it's funny. Broken Eye Stalking Dalek ship, Broken Cyberhead, and Cyberman ship. uh, so, I think one part that I really liked, well, that made me laugh, I suppose, was the part where Clara enters the TARDIS and she sees the Doctor naked. um, But we find out it's really a holographic, well, actually, no, he really is naked, but he has a holographic device implanted that allows him to show clothes when he's really doesn't have clothes on. Um, so, once they meet, they get past that very awkward moment, and the Doctor meets Clara's family. Which Clara's family, I liked her dad and her grandma. Her mom, I just hated. Absolutely hated. Anyways, so the Doctor steals Clara away, and they head to the planet where the Doctor was before. Um, oh, but that does remind me of the one point where Clara and the Doctor are looking at the turkey, and Clara asks the Doctor to app it with his sonic, and the Doctor's like, "App it? It doesn't do turkey. Nothing does turkey." and so we kind of figured out that the Sonic has two weaknesses now. It can't do wood, and it can't do turkey. um, yeah. So once they arrive back at the planet, Tasha, Liam, uh, apparently one of the Doctor's old friends. He has lots of friends that we don't know about, but I mean, he has been on many adventures, so it's. I mean, I wouldn't doubt that he has many that we just don't know of. And so they let the Doctor into the church, um, and yeah, so Tasha and the Doctor talk about how to get down to the planet, while Clara experiences the silence for the very first time, which is it's very interesting. And actually, in this episode, they're actually considered the confession priests, because once you confess to them, you forget what you confessed. So, in general, you really don't remember anything you said, so you don't feel guilty, which is kind of nice, kind of not, But so yeah, I mean, once they reach the planet, they find out that there's a truth field, um, which they obviously had a hard time with. Um, it at first they couldn't stop telling the truth. Then they stopped talking and finally got nailed down. Um, and once they figured out that the town on Trenzalore was actually called Christmas, and it was Christmas. um, so I thought that was kind of interesting. But the other thing I thought that was very interesting, and I was kind of glad it came back because it finally gave us some answers to Series 5, Series 6, not so much Series 7, but the crack in the wall that was on Amelia's wall and then all over history reappears, and the Doctor's like, I knew it wasn't over. I knew it wasn't. And he was right. Um, until Handel's told the Doctor what the crack actually was. It was the Time Lords communicating with the Doctor, trying to ask when it was safe to return peacefully. Um, of course, the Doctor, he didn't actually set them free because throughout the progression of being in Christmas Town, there's so many enemies trying to get in and trying to destroy the Doctor and the town that it's like he knows that's like, no, it is not a safe time for you to return. So after sending Clara, he sends Clara home like 2 times, which is kind of a pulling a Rose Tyler on her. But yeah, so once he does that, each time Clara returns, the Doctor's like at least 100 or 200 years older. The final time he arrives, or she arrives, he's like a very, very, very old man. Um, and it's very interesting that the Doctor actually aged 300 years in the town of Christmas, because it, I don't know, it's just interesting. Because usually you don't see the Doctor age, ever. But yeah, so he actually did in this one. But so he, once they meet for the final time, Clara reads the poem out of one of the crackers or wherever that was, and it says, it's talking about how the clock is striking 12, and then the Doctor doesn't get it. But really, I think he does get it. And I mean, obviously, it's kind of obvious that it's like I think he kind of does know what it means. He just does not want to believe it. But I will give him some props though, because he does know it's his final regeneration of that cycle, and there's no way he could get another regeneration without the Time Lords. But the one thing he doesn't remember, and this really it drove me mad because he he did know another way of saving himself when he said, "I used to be able to change the future when there were Time Lords around." At that point, I was like, but there are Time Lords. They're in the crack in time trying to communicate with you. So, yes, there are Time Lords there. But he did not even recall that until at the end, where where the Daleks called him to come forth. And of course, it's the Daleks who always have to end the Doctor. No one else can, just the Daleks. But of course, they are the mortal enemy of the Time Lords and the Doctor. So, I mean, I guess it makes a little sense that the Daleks want to destroy everything. But, once the Doctor gives himself up to the Daleks, just because he knows he's going to end, he tells them that he has no plan up his sleeve this time. He's got nothing. He literally just lets the Daleks destroy everything in the town, and it's like, why? I mean, at least if you're gonna die fighting. Don't just stand there and let it happen. And, and I was, before all this, what number Matt Smith is, like, he is the 11th/13th Doctor. And like he even says he's the 13th Doctor, technically. He even says it like out loud to us. But I didn't know how they were going to get around that. I thought there was like a regeneration that we probably missed. I mean, at first it was John Hurt's and David Tennant's hand. Um, but I still thought we were missing something. But I realized how Stephen Moffat got around that rule, and it was very clever. But at the same time, we probably at the beginning should have realized that's how it's going to happen. How Matt Smith was going to get more regenerations. The Time Lords through the crack. So while the Daleks are flying around, destroying everything, causing explosions, everything, a huge crack in the sky opens and unleashes regeneration energy, or actually a brand new regeneration cycle. Which gives the Doctor his brand new cycle, which gives him regeneration number 13. So he finally accepts this, and then he's like, okay, I have brand new regenerations. I have no way of dying now. I am not letting these dumb Daleks destroy this place because they want to. So gets he gets angry and he says, "If you want my life, come and get it!" And, well, he basically calls the Daleks out. And once he starts regenerating, holy crap! He just. It's like the most massive regeneration I've ever seen in Doctor Who. He destroys Daleks in the sky. He destroys Daleks on the ground. He destroys the entire Dalek mothership. And then he just destroys any other creature that's in radius of him. And holy crap, that I loved his reset regeneration. That was awesome. um, so after that regeneration, it's like it's wrapping up, and Clara meets the Doctor back in the TARDIS, and the Doctor starts talking how um, he's always loved being this type of Doctor, but he has to move on. Um, and during that, he sees Amelia, or a ghost of Amelia Pond, and um, uh, it's a very touching scene in the TARDIS, and I liked that. But the part I really liked was when Peter Capaldi was finally seen. The one thing that he brought to the show was he forgot how to fly the TARDIS. Oh my. Series 8 is going to be really interesting. Well, see you guys.